8:15 on our side as well.
Great, thank you for that.
Yeah.
I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll welcome PUD number 1 for our regular meeting of June 10th. Thank you all for coming. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The cat occurs.
Okay, well, let's look at the agenda. It's a relatively actually it's a very short agenda. We do not have at least at present an executive session planned or new business. Is there any so we have our regular old business, and of course we'll have commission reports and public comments at the beginning and end. Is there any changes to this agenda?
I have none.
Okay, I move we approve the agenda.
There's a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
As a comment on the agenda, I had hoped to be able to review the recording of the meeting, which I missed, on strategic planning. I was not able to find it online, although Joseph did find it for me and sent it to me this morning. So I promised to do so after this meeting,
Okay.
so that at our next opportunity, I will be ready to I'll be caught up. So I really had I looked and searched and was not able to find the May 30th meeting recording, but Joseph did find it for me. So thank you, Joseph, for doing that.
We don't post the special commission meetings. But we do have them available. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you for letting me know that. Okay, that's very helpful. So we can get it. We just have to ask for it.
That's correct.
Okay. So
I believe that one was also emailed to you. I think that one was emailed to you also, Atul. I'm not sure. There was one I emailed to you that's privatized, but I sent you a private link on the YouTube.
okay, cool.
And then I just sent him, I unlisted it, Aaron, and I resent him the link where Joseph sent him the link for me. So he should be good to go.
Okay. Great.
So it currently what is estimated the meeting will end I think 9:45 was what we said, but it may be it may be a shorter meeting than that based on all of this. So with that, let's proceed. So the consent agenda, the minutes, as well as claims. Are there any comments on the consent agenda?
None for me.
I'll move to approve consent agenda.
I'll second.
Yeah, there's a motion and a second. There's no other comment. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Okay, let's continue. The next on the agenda is the general manager's report.
First, we have a public comment.
I'm sorry. Is there anyone in the room or online who would like to make a comment? We heard from my cat.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nope.
I don't see anybody online.
Okay. Now let's move on then to the general manager's report.
Okay, my report is very, very short. So looking into the Helion tour that's available for the Wakuta meeting, I think it's in July, yeah. I was asked to get everybody signed up for that wanted to go, and immediately ran into a security requirement until they require separate people. You have to sign yourself up, and they want enough information so that they can certify that you can be in a sensitive energy installation. So they don't allow group sign up at all. You have to do it individually.
Okay.
So that's one thing that we discovered. They're limiting it to 25. So if you're interested in the Helion tour, you need to get on the website. I think it's June 9th it was open, right? Or June 12th.
Yeah, I just know it wasn't open when I saw the email, and it was this week though. Yeah,
It might be the 12th.
yeah.
So anyway, you pay attention to that, and if you're interested, go ahead and sign up.
I'm interested. I think this is a really exciting opportunity, so I'll hope to get in the crew.
I don't know if I'm gonna do it yet or not.
Okay.
Yeah, it's no problem there. And then, the only other thing that I have to report, other than we've got a ton of stuff, real brief updates in broadband and geothermal. So the second meeting in July, the one on July 22nd, I have a conflict. I'm with the Northwest Public Power Association's E&O conference. We're doing the setup for next year's conference. And that's gonna be down in Portland in person, starting at noon, the day of our commission meeting. So I've asked Kurt to cover the second commission meeting for me next month, and he's agreed. So just
Okay,
letting you guys
great.
know. And then that's it for the GM report. Do you guys have any questions for me?
No,
Does Kurt get anything when he covers the meetings for you? Do you get him donuts or something, or?
No, I just say thanks.
Well, that has not occurred as of yet, Commissioner.
I'm just trying to help you out, Kurt.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
All right.
Operations report?
Yep. So you might have noticed we have a new roof on the administrative building here. It was installed last week. It took them 4 days, but happily we didn't find any surprises when they took the old roof off. So they still need to do the gutters. I think they're going to be installed tomorrow, but we now have a new roof on the building here. So that's a good thing. I think this was probably about a 20-year-old roof, I believe it was. So there's a lot of moss on there and a lot of stuff like that. So it was time for a new one.
I did not notice.
You did not notice? Maybe on the way out, you can check it out.
Nice.
If you got your haircut, I would notice, but I did not notice the new roof, so
It's similar.
It's no moss growing down over the entryway.
that's great.
Yeah, but no moss on my haircut though.
Yeah,
And also we have contractors out at our D station now, and that project has been started back up. We had a lot of wait time for materials and other things like that, and we had to also wait for the weather to kind of dry things out, because it's a little bit of a wet area in general in that whole section over there. But they're started back up there and they're moving along that project. We have to work with BP, of course. They have I know in the next week or two they have a couple operational items that they've got going on that will kind of pause our construction timeline a little bit. But I just want to let you know that work has resumed, and so that's moving along. And I haven't actually been out. They kind of mobilized last week and they started yesterday, and I haven't been out there myself to see it, but I know that they're back at it, so that's a good thing. And that's all I have. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
I have a question, but any questions in the room?
no, thank you.
It occurred to me when seeing this in the claims, I think it was a 20-something thousand or 40-something thousand? I don't remember what it was for them. Anyway,
Claims.
I thought about solar, and I just wondered, with a new roof now, is there potential for a second solar array on the roof of our office building there, admin building?
That wasn't something that we had looked at. I mean, I suppose that's something we could check out. It seems like we would have a pretty good location for it. We're in a kind of an open field in a sense. We have a couple landscaping trees, but nothing that's very large.
Yeah, could we just do a quick check and report out? And the reason is it's a bad idea to put solar when you've got an old roof.
Right. That makes sense.
And it actually can potentially lengthen the life of the roof. But I mean, I don't even know if that's true, Garrett. I don't know what you think of that, but certainly it doesn't hurt. And you definitely don't want to do it when you're planning a roof replacement. And I think it's one of the reasons we didn't even consider it some years ago when we did the solar on the shop building. So maybe it's worth considering.
Okay, well, we can definitely kind of take a look at that. Was there a specific claim I had to pull back up that you were describing, you were asking about?
Oh no, I was just I noticed the roof replacement item,
Oh, okay, okay,
and I decided to ask about it now rather than.
right, okay. I would say that it was around, it was about $47,000, I think,
Yeah.
for the roof.
For-
But yeah, we can look into the potential for solar for sure.
So I just want to remind the commission that when we did the solar on plant 2, I had something less than an 8-year simple payback. And so it really economically made sense. In this case, so at the time, panels were about 8 or 9 cents a watt here. And today with the tariffs, they're over 25 cents a watt.
Oh,
So
that really
if you
changes.
triple the cost of the thing, then chances are really good that the payoff, even the simple non-discounted payback, would be longer than the life of the system. So that would be a criteria that I would consider a knockout criteria.
sure.
Just a reminder, we'll have a look at it. It may
Yeah,
not
but look, 'cause
require
I
any
think-
kind of.
Chris, I think installation, it's really about, also think about installation costs because, as you know, the cost of installation really dwarfs the cost of the panels these days. So, if roof mounted installation can, it just depends if we find a motivated vendor. If it's a motivated vendor who wants to do it, they can probably make it happen. So they might even have inventory or something like that. So.
And okay, and there are some security issues to be concerned with too. For instance, they have discovered an RFID circuit that's on every inverter that's come from China, which amounts to 91% of the inverters installed in America. And it's not on any manufacturer's diagrams or specification, and it has the ability to shut the inverter off remotely. So there's a huge security flaw in our inverters that's been discovered recently. Again, as a nation, these are things that we got to worry about when we look at these, and typically we have none.
Okay.
And I don't have anything else at this time, commissioners.
All right.
Thank you, Chris.
Concludes on the operations report. Let's move on to old business, correct?
Sure, I would just ask Commissioner Yuri, did you have a question you had on that?
Well, I am interested in maybe further evaluating some, what the cost figures would look like in additional solar. Yeah, right. As Atul mentioned, it's the cost of the module panels is almost negligible in the overall installation, right? And when we're looking at material sourcing issues with inverters, like you said, I just see, there might be still some opportunity there because I've been in conversation with some members of the community, even like in some local solar installers, noting there's now more of a trend of pulling old solar panels off of roofs that are getting replaced or whatnot, and then they want to upgrade to the modern one, and then you have these panels that are less efficient but still have a long lifespan left, and before they're sent to recycling, are basically free panels, right? That you can get, and then it may not be worthwhile to put them anywhere or hook them up given the overall cost. But if you have an existing installation already, and it was just adding these basically free modules to expand the capacity of a facility that's already all wired up, that's something I'm kind of interested in exploring further. It doesn't seem like it's being done anywhere, but as a way to just extend the life of panels, add a little bit of power into the grid, and reduce that waste stream, or delay it. I don't know, it's something I just maybe we talk about more. It could just be a total dead end, but
We'll do a quick assessment of the thing, and if it's close, and I mean, the proof is in the pudding. We did it before. It was economic, and we went ahead and did it. If that's the case for this roof, we'll go ahead and propose it and do it. If it's not, we'll let you know, and we'll give you the economic study. And it may not need to be very, very detailed. If it's way far out, either way, either highly affordable or highly unaffordable, then that's we don't need to dig in too much more than that.
well, we'd love to talk further. Yeah. Thanks, Chris.
Thanks, Commissioner. So
All
I'd like to start with a broadband update.
Please.
Last Friday, NTIA did issue their newest, what did they call it? Just a notice, but it modified the BEAD program that was put out about 4 years ago. And it's going to require another round of bidding for all projects. So just as a reminder, we believe that we were awarded under BEAD some broadband service locations on Point Roberts in addition to our WISBO round 2 grant. And what this notice says is that essentially the states are required to notify all awardees that their awards have been nullified. And there's some wording to that effect. And they need to go back in and essentially rebid them and go with the low cost option. And the only flexibility they have is if you're within 15% of the low cost option, you can make an argument for instance, fiber, if that's not the low cost option, but it's within 15%, because you can get so much more capacity there than almost any other. So you could argue at 15%, but if you're more than 15% out, and low Earth orbit, for instance, is the low cost option, then that's the answer. And so all of the bids get let go at that point. Andrew, was there more on that?
I think just, that's absolutely correct. I mean, it's kind of a shock, right? Kind of
Yeah.
carpet getting pulled out from under your feet. But yeah, it's a mandatory rebid. As Chris mentioned, they stripped out a lot of pertinent information that is where I think we can bring value as a public entity. Like they eliminate the fiber priority, they eliminate open access, it's eliminating portability, so on and so forth. So it's just a really scaled back version of what we've been working with, down to just what's the lowest cost option.
Sorry, I'm just absorbing that
I know,
information.
Yeah, I agree. I'm with you, Jamie, exactly. And I think the thing is that there's really not a lot to talk about today because it's the state broadband office job to respond to this sea change and get back to us and present a whole new board game, which we are have the opportunity of playing or not. I mean, basically what's happened is we've had a new federal administration who is completely in disagreement with prior administration's approach to broadband rollout. The old program wasn't in any way perfect, but everybody understood that rule board to some significant degree, and we played according to those rules. Now we're being told that no longer applies, and we're going to be presenting a new rule board, and we'll just have to adapt. And I think it's going to take a couple weeks to hear back. Chris, do you know when the broadband office is going to get back to us?
They have 90 days to issue a NOFO, evaluate the responses and make the awards and get the awards up to NTIA for federal approval. They have 90 days to do that. 90 days. That cycle has typically taken WISBO about 18 months.
Yeah.
So it's going to be very, very fast. I anticipate, and frankly, the notice of funding opportunity from the state should be quite short. I mean, there's so much taken out of it that, you know, it's essentially just submit your per pass cost any way you want to configure it, and we'll pick the lowest.
Wow.
And so my recommendation is that we simply wait and see what the state does. One possible but extreme outcome. So again, I always look for bookends. One bookend would be the state saying, well, you know, this really doesn't do anything for anybody. And so we're just going to not go there and not issue a NOFO and just let it lapse. I think that's extremely low likelihood possibility, but it's a possibility. So we ought to just wait and see what the state does. They're going to be within that timeline. And I suspect next week or the week after, we'll see their NOFO and we'll have probably 2 weeks to respond. And, you know, in a couple of weeks, there's not a lot I mean, unless I'm directed, I don't think I can establish a satellite network for you between now and then. Even if I'm directed, I don't think I can do that. And so if they're just going to award it to low Earth orbit, which if that is the bid, it's going to be the low bid. So to give you guys an idea, our competitive on either all fiber or hybrid, we're between $3,000 and $7,000 a pass. LEO's 500. And even if we, sharpen our pencils and spend a lot of time on it, we're not going to get down to $500. So, if we submit at all, I would suggest that it's just a resubmission of what we did before. And if that's the low cost option, we get it. If it's not, we don't. And there's just not a lot we can do about that.
We
We
could,
already sharpened our pencils on this.
we could repurpose that intake facility by the bridge as a launch pad for satellites. So just as an idea.
Use the water for cooling, that would get our, it's beneficial use. We could use up more in Kuwait. I mean.
I know what you're thinking.
I'm liking it. Peter, what do you think?
I see him nodding.
Is just
I'm seeing. I think Peter's looks like he's saying it's a no-brainer, right?
Read all that on my face.
What does the cat think is the question?
What is exactly, I want to hear from the cat. Cats are wise.
Yeah, I really.
So anyway.
I think we've already had the conversation. We don't want to pour too much energy down broadband. It's a short meeting, but at the present time, let's just wait and see.
Yeah.
Andrew, anything else on broadband?
No, I think that's the big.
Okay. Yeah, and I don't think we have anything further to report on the Point Roberts project. That's still just going along with the same bumps and hurdles that.
Can I suggest something about the broadband though? Like if there is information and you guys want to take action or something, that we do a separate meeting, because we do go down rabbit holes with broadband. So if there's something that comes up, can we schedule a separate meeting from our business meeting? Okay.
This is a great idea. We're going to get a whole new program release. And so it would make a lot of sense to do it as a special conversation. And first look at, okay, it's a brand new rule board. What are we going to do? That would be a great idea for a conversation.
I just think that what we're gonna see coming out of the state is likely gonna be exactly what's in the NTIA guide. And it's gonna be very, very short. And my recommendation is if that's what we see, we just go with our current submissions. Because they literally, Andrew spent a ton of time with our engineers and it's as cheap as we can make it. That is in fact our best effort. Because we can't do LEO.
Andrew, I'm so sorry that you've spent so much time working on this just for them to, slap you.
It's okay.
Well, I mean, what Andrew needs from, if I may say so, colleagues, commissioners, what Andrew needs from us to know that is that he's appreciated by us.
Oh yeah.
And thanks for saying that. And Chris, you as well. All of the efforts. You certainly we did not take a cynical approach to any of this, or you certainly had doubts and reservations, but our team has given it the college try. We've probably one of 50 organizations around the state, easily having spent tens of millions of dollars collectively working on this already. If you think about labor hours and all of the other consultants and all of that, I mean, we spent millions and millions of dollars on all of this stuff, and it's really unfortunate. But that's the ropes, and it's proof that we're dedicated to serving a public need. Unfortunately, sometimes that doesn't pan out. And as you said, Jamie, let's not belabor this. Let's come back to it as appropriate when the time is right. So.
Peter, do you have anything on the adjudication?
Yeah, nothing other than John anticipates providing more information the second meeting of this month. There was a steering committee meeting yesterday per the regular schedule, but I don't have that information, and so there's no report out on the adjudication beyond that.
Okay.
I'd like to report out. I attended on my own time, obviously purely did I have a personal situation as a owner of a private well. I attended one of the many sessions that the county and ecology and who am I missing? Anyway, county and ecology for sure coordinated and did all over the county. It was at 10 Mile Elementary School, very near my house. And I was just very impressed by the amount of turnout and the amount of people sitting at tables getting specific guidance on how to respond to the adjudication as private well owners. I'm sure there will still be people that are fall through the cracks or who are disaffected, but I really do believe the county, and I don't usually give ecology credit lightly, but I believe that ecology also really showed up in force and had specific actionable information for everybody in all categories. And I just wanted to say it was really impressive to me.
Great.
Geothermal, Andrew?
Not a big update, just on the land lease front we talked about, spanning multiple commission meetings. You know, we submitted our request to BLM and they kicked it over to the Forest Service, and we asked, you know, the Forest Service, where are they in their analysis of, you know, when we can anticipate these land leases to go to auction, and they said, well, we've kicked it further down the road to our geologists, and so basically it appears like we're just kind of getting the runaround right now. Nobody seems to know who's, maybe they do know who's in the lead, but we just aren't privy to that. But again, we nominated land that had already gone through and been vetted through that process. So it's not clear to us why there's further analysis needed on those land lease, our land lease request. So that's the update.
Okay.
So, and to put that in a different perspective, we got notified of a lease that went to auction. And apparently and it's out of the same office, it's in Oregon, but out of the same regional office. And they apparently submitted their applications to nominate after we did. So it was land that hadn't been worked before from a cultural assessment, you know, the NEPA process and all that. And they're already done, and they went to auction. So at this point, to say that I'm frustrated would be a profound understatement. So what I'm looking for is a head nod from you guys to engage Cantwell staff and get them to lean on Forest Service and BLM.
Yes.
So I've got a nod yes from Jamie. Atul, would you be in favor of that? Nod there. Okay, we will start working with Cantwell staff to. I mean, it's ridiculous. But
I have a question. So the pre-feasibility study that we got, that was like a part one, wasn't it? But was there more information coming?
yeah, and in fact, this week, what do they call those things? The microseismic sensors.
Yeah, seismic arrays.
Yeah, but it's the mini ones there. Anyway, they installed a bunch of them, and I think they went live June 3rd or 2nd. They got the first earthquakes. So they're using those now, and part of it is to figure out the existing fault lines, and that way you can trace where the hydrothermal vents are.
Right.
If you wanted to do that kind of geothermal, and for the enhanced geothermal, it tells you where the faults are, so you can stay away from them.
Right.
And yes, so we got the first half of the study, and the second half will be done. We need a nearly final study to the legislature the end of June, isn't it? Yeah, so we should see a more final version of that
soon.
Yeah, but I don't think it's gonna be a whole lot different than what we've already seen, because they don't have the data yet from the microseismic. And they're gonna do that final update at the end of the year.
Okay.
And this doesn't require access or control of the land. All the pre-feasibility study doesn't require that. So, but if the pre-feasibility comes back like we think it will, and it says, yeah, and what you ought to do is start drilling some holes, you can't do that till you've got control of the land. So we could be in the position of ready to go by the end of this year and nowhere to go.
And not have property, yeah,
Yeah.
right.
So that's why
Yeah.
I'm getting really frustrated, because
Yeah.
Andrew put the nominations in, it's 2 years ago now.
Yes.
And just to get it nominated for auction for land that's already been done. And so anyway, thank
Yeah.
you. We will proceed.
Sorry.
So learning that
about this Oregon land lease went through. I mean, how do we, like, I guess on one hand, that's what's going on? Like, what did we do wrong?
We have asked that question, and so Andrew was very, very polite just now. He started with somebody in either BLM or Forest Service, and they referred us to somebody in the other organization, and then went down the rabbit hole in that. And the last person in that organization referred us back to the person we started with.
It's the runaround, yeah,
It's completely circular, and we can't figure out what. Well, it's two different departments, but they're in the same physical location. And it's, hey, Frank.
Yeah, they're in the same.
Frank would be on it.
Yeah. You know, it's just.
Yeah. Well, I anticipated that, this thing was gonna, our timeline would get slowed down by staffing shortage or whatever might be, turnover happening in BLM, but like, this is a whole. I guess the fact that, there was someone who applied after us that's gone through, maybe gives us hope that we could. If
Right.
these come, together, we can get it approved in the timeline by, 6 months from now.
Yeah, they're not hostile to geothermal leases. And in fact, the current administration is very much in favor of issuing leases for energy extraction, and mineral extraction.
I think,
So
and well,
it should be there.
I think-
It's consistent with where it's headed.
I think Senator Campbell, and I assume probably Cameron Caldwell is still our primary contact there in the office.
I think Cameron. Yeah.
I think
Yeah, we're.
a good senator will be delighted to help us. This is the one thing where she will not be butting heads.
Yeah.
So
This is a win for everybody.
Yeah.
And I think that they just need to point that out to the department heads. We don't have access to those people, but the senator's staff do.
Yeah.
So.
Well, thank you for working on
yeah, I think
it.
we'll be fine.
All right, anything else on geothermal?
Well, I look forward to, you said since there will be some form of the study going to being reported to the legislature end of the month, so I do look forward to seeing the updated version.
We do too.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting. All right, strategic plan update. We've had a lot of meetings recently, and we need to have another one for the commission with Karina to work on vision and values. What I'm gonna do at this point is not have a lot of discussion on that. We know what needs to happen, and Joseph will reach out and get the schedule together for everybody.
Okay.
And we don't need to do that here. But I'm anticipating a separate work session, not during one of our regular meetings, unless you want to.
No.
Okay.
I just want to express my appreciation. I heard some of the sentiment. Obviously, that I'm sorry that I missed the strategic planning session. It's been quite a couple of weeks for me. I think I came back with COVID. Anyway, so I appreciated that very much. I just wanted to express my gratitude to my colleagues, and I will do my homework. I promise you. And look forward to our next meeting. Do we know when our next meeting is?
No, Joseph will reach out and contact each of you and schedule it. We haven't scheduled it because frankly, we didn't know what your schedule was gonna look like. We didn't want to impose on you when,
Very kind, very kind, very kind. I'm 90% right now. Obviously, I don't want to get anybody sick. I've done enough damage. I want to just say anything next week is, I'm available next week. I should be 100% by in another day or so.
And Lisa has something on.
We also need to set an additional date with Mom Foster. With Heather.
Yeah.
Will be two, so we'll be reaching out regarding two different special meetings, one with Karina, one with Hillary and Mom Foster.
At the end of this month, I'm probably going to be out of town. I never leave anywhere.
Are you going on vacation?
I am going to the family ranch, which is off grid, so you probably won't get me in
That's
a
wonderful.
little ball mine either. Yeah,
That's great.
yeah.
You deserve time off.
Absolutely.
But Atul, did you hear Lisa's comment?
I think so about Mount Foster.
Yes, okay. I just want to make sure that you heard that it'll actually be a request for 2 dates that Joseph will be working on, not just one. And other than that, the work seems to be going along pretty good with both consultants and a lot of effort and time. And I think we're gonna end up with a very different strategic plan than what we have today, and different in a good way. And not that the old one was bad, just this one is gonna be better.
I'm super excited for the work that we're doing together, and yeah, it looks like it's gonna be great.
So with that, any questions on the strategic plan?
And then are we done with old business then?
I think we are.
And if I'm correct, there's nothing under new business?
That is correct.
Okay, so that moves us on to commissioner reports, is that right?
It is, yeah. I'll go since looks like I'm first here. I don't really have anything exciting to report. I did have my meeting with Mal Foster last Friday. It was great. I think we spent 30-40 minutes doing just a SWOT analysis of the PUD, and that was fun. And talking about my, I'm sure it was the same for everybody, but asked about your own desires for the strategic plan. And I will say, I told her I was looking forward to it being aspirational and something we could be proud of, looking back at it. So anyway, that's it for me.
Commissioner Yuri, you want to go next?
Sure, nothing too pressing, I guess, like thinking of the timeline of the summer here, looking forward to, the Wakuda meeting's mid-July, easy to get to in Skagit County, that opportunity to do the Helios tour, and then after that, week after is Energy Northwest, next round of board meetings. And I do think it would be a good idea for me to make the trip out to Tri-Cities to return, because we're kind of getting up on some big decisions. I had a call with Energy Northwest staffer last week. We're calling around to a number of commissioners and getting kind of an inside view on, or different views on, how we're gonna go about with this conditional approval process for the new nuclear facility project. There's basically, I guess there's some state law that gives special authority to the board of directors during in a conditional approval and the interim between conditional and final approval. And I guess over there, they were exploring, is there some way maybe the board of directors could just delegate authority back to the executive board? Because it would incur more responsibilities on us, more meetings, more probably more of the day-to-day responsibilities of the executive board, and that it's be like a 9-month interim between, I think, like October and next summer. And to me, it didn't really seem like there's maybe, I think it's fine. Like, I mean, as a regular seating board member delegate here, I think it'd be fine. But if that's gonna be some topic of discussion in July, and getting more information about the project, and we'd be making a vote, I think, on conditional approval in October quarterly meeting. And to clarify that does not require a full, our Wacom PUD board of commission approval. If we choose to, we can do that. I mean, it's something we could all talk about before I take a vote in October. And I think making time for that after the July meeting would be prudent enough for us, and to get more into the details on this, because it is a big decision. And we're with number of sorts of risks involved in moving forward. But for the final decision, which would be next, I think June, July is the target. That does officially require, we have to vote as a commission, and for our part as a voting member of the overall board. So big decision for us on pursuing small modular nuclear reactors. And so just wanted to kind of, just flag that all coming up as we go through the year. And any thoughts or questions on that?
Yeah, I'd like to ask about that. So I mean, we will be asked to vote on whether we support the piloting of a first pilot, or are we actually voting to support the entire program?
Well, I mean, I think the details of like the full proposal will come forth, but as I understand it, it's well, I'll be voting on at least the first stage of the new program. What do you mean by like the pilot?
Well, is it are we is Energy Northwest board approving a first stage of the small modular, because there's multiple, if I'm correct, multiple small modular reactors are gonna get built, potentially. And so
Yeah,
what's this vote for? Is to build a first one, or is this to build all of them?
you mean for the final approval or for the?
Yeah, is this would you call this a preliminary approval? What is this approval, and what does it mean? Oh, yes.
Well, I think with the conditional approval, it's like a preliminary green light to move forward as long as certain conditions can be met, and then we'll have more assurance on whether those will be met before we take the vote on the official final approval, to then, finance and proceed with building the project and permitting and all that. I think I'm a little unclear totally on all the details of it. But as I understand it, it's like a phase one, so Chris.
So the initial, the conditional approval is to do all the design work, the site prep work, and the preliminary applications for the first 4 reactors.
First 4, yeah.
Because that's what the phase one is. It takes you all the way up to financing and final approval by the NRC, and that's when the final vote needs to be done. So it doesn't include any issuance of bonds, but it's pretty significant costs just to go through the design. Yeah, the engineering, the site prep work, and a preliminary permitting approval with NRC for the siting.
So just to be clear, the final, like the vote for final approval, they want our entire commission to vote on that. But the first vote, the preliminary, you're our representative, so you
Yeah.
don't need us to
Not
approve anything.
not legally.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it'd be-
optionally for us.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. I mean, it'd be nice to know kind of what you're doing and how you're voting, but you are our elected representative for that. So.
Right, and although I'd want my vote to
Yeah.
represent the will of
Yeah.
the whole board of commissioners here, so.
So you're not gonna go rogue on us? Maybe.
Well, no, that's not my intent. I mean, it's something I feel like I'll be. At this point, I mean, I've been, having to weigh carefully.
Sure.
And so, I think also what the vote may depend on, in our consideration of our vote, should depend on exactly what those conditions are.
Mhm.
And that's what I understand there'll be a lot more discussion of at the July meeting, and more details in the proposal about. And then in October when we vote on it. So, and that's something I'm interested in exploring more with, what might we be, what are the criteria? And I understand there can be a lot of path dependency on a project like this that's already even before getting to this moving forward with the full design and engineering. I mean, they have a team of, I think, 10 staff working on it. I met some of them a few months ago when I went out to Tri-Cities, and they have a team of engineers. We're working on this project quite seriously. So there's been a lot of investment into it, and it's hard. I can see how it's hard to turn back from when you've come so far, but want to make sure that we're really making the best decision and not for all kinds of reasons, but in some part just financially, is this actually going to be a safe bet? So and affect ratepayers around the region ultimately, so as well as safety concerns.
So that's really helpful. As our designee, you should do what you think is right. First of all, the location of these 4 small modular reactors in the proximity of the existing Hanford Reservation and so on is creates relatively low land use risks. I would say probably it's not it's nothing's nil. Everything has an impact. That's very beneficial. The only thing that I've ever wondered about in my conversations when I was on the board, when this was first being considered, was tracking water. The Columbia Generation Station has a TMDL, a temperature related monitoring requirement, impacts to on the gigantic river there. And I'm just wondering how hard has the team worked on, you know, eventually to migrating this technology to be less and less dependent on water. I mean, it's not like you eliminate the need for water, but we're continually reducing and improving water use efficiency in the design of these reactors. Is that something that's been discussed at Energy Northwest? And is anybody encouraging that to the maximum degree possible?
Well, as I understand it, I mean, gas cooled SMRs do exist and, you know, designed to be deployed in areas where water is really scarce. But I mean, if we're putting it on the Columbia River, I think that, yeah, the easiest option, right, is water. Chris, did you have?
Yeah, Commissioner Deshmani, they're requiring what's called dry cooling for these units. And although that's a bit of a misnomer, but it uses less than 10% of the water of a once through system.
Okay.
So that's where they're starting, and they're working on making it more efficient than that.
That's great.
And yeah, that's top of mind for them, because they want to be able to deploy these everywhere. And
that's fantastic.
You know, dry cooling is key.
Yeah, and to me, 10% is not perfect, and that's exactly the way we need to be. We you know, we need to keep moving the needle and replacing X with something that's at least slightly better than X. And it sounds like that's what's happening, and then some. And so yeah, that was my main item I wanted to bring up, but I'm glad to hear that is a centerpiece of the new reactors. So, and that will be a net improvement for our state and probably for the whole nation as a result. So,
Right.
For energy supply.
Yeah, I think that also that just, yeah, I mean, obviously siting and location concerns is an issue, but yeah, given the overall small footprint of the power plants and, you know, capabilities to co-locate them right next to the, you know, large consumers, new data centers or what have you. Yeah, I mean,
Well, the Hanford site was originally sized for 5 reactors of Columbia Generating Station size. And they built the transmission for that. So it's one of the very few places in the entire state where I can tell you we have an abundance of transmission. They could dump a ton of this power on there and it wouldn't disrupt the local transmission. Now, getting it over the Cascades, different issue, but getting it off site, not a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So to start, we do have a good location in the facility. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention also that I think at the next meetings we're approving an upgrade for what was the number? It's about a 10% expansion, just through efficiency upgrades at the existing Columbia Generating Station to come online by 2031.
The second phase.
Second phase,
The first phase is 29 or 30.
Okay, yeah.
And the total is 187 megawatts.
187, that was it, yeah. It's a lot of power, yeah. So that's coming up too. Yeah, but I guess what's not been clear to me and everyone seems to have some lingering concerns about is like, well, how much, what will this really cost? And it depends on, issues with the supplier and overall how many SMRs are are in line to be built, and it's not just, you know, we're not just, you're not fully in, it's not, it's a lot to be determined still, it seems. And then you know, of course, I have some concerns about the life cycle issues with the operation from the fuel supply, uranium mining, and security over that fuel supply. And you know, as I understand it, we're still actually very dependent on Russia for uranium in the United States, even with the war and sanctions and all that going on. And if, you know, mining expansions go forward in the US, what consequences of that could be as well. I'm learning more, I'm less concerned about the waste stream. But yeah, there's I think there, you know, and I talked about that a little bit with the staff and in the board meetings. I think there could be some, so that could be, you know, some of the criteria and the conditions, right, have to do with security of the fuel supply. So.
Okay.
Thank you. So just to go through my things, one of the things I'd hoped to go to that I was not able to go to, and I don't know if either one of you two went, was a reception for AltaGas, where they were going to give an update of where they're at on the evolution of their project. And did anyone get any feedback from it? Because I wasn't able to attend that.
I wasn't able to go either, so.
Okay.
Did you go, Chris?
I did not, I was out of town.
Oh, that's right.
Okay.
I can, Andrea owes me an update on some other stuff anyway. I can ping her and get it back to you guys.
Okay.
Okay, so I attended PPC meetings last week via Zoom. I also I'm proud that I had a dialogue with Scott, head of PPC. What's his last name, Chris?
Miller?
Scott. Scott. Darn it.
Miller.
Sorry, but forgive me. Scott Sims. So one of the observations I had made, and I always appreciate when I get when I'm on the mark. And the observation I made to him after PPC was that I sometimes so we know that Bonneville was initially under attack for workforce reductions. We know that with the help of our delegations as well as common sense that dawned on our federal administration, it became clear that cutting heads at Bonneville was really not going to get a budget reduction of any kind. And so that was undone to a large degree. And that's definitely been a positive thing. However, there are other things happening that impact public power and BPA that I think, and this is one of those things. And here's what I said. Scott, sometimes I worry that there might be a bias against the public sector under our current federal administration. As a result, the IOUs might have a recourse in going directly to the federal government to encourage better terms for BPA, from BPA. And although it's not a direct analogy, I've seen this additional leverage playing out on telecom and broadband policy from the federal government. And so reason I made that comment is that the ability of BPA to do things like provider of choice, restrict the amount of money and benefits that pass to investor-owned utilities, or moderate that in a manner that's a plus minus, is a constant effort, and we should just be aware that as public power we need to continue to defend public power's interests, particularly as it relates to investor own ability and relationships with the federal government. And that's just the main point I wanted to share. And so there's a lot of work to be done going forward with public power. And what we're seeing is a lot tighter alliance under this current situation between PPC and BPA than I've seen in previous years. And I think the obvious reason is this belief that we need to stick together. So it's interesting to see the tone being kind of very subtly shifting at PPC into being less challenging BPA and more supporting BPA over the last year. Okay, just before the PPC meetings, the previous day, Nicholas Garcia asked me to help with setting up a Zoom meeting, which Representative Alex Ramel attended, along with Phyllis Bernard, several staff from Grant PUD and BPA. And in that meeting, it was a learning session to understand more about what can be done to support transmission improvements with state level policy. And so I'm waiting for the notes from that meeting. Representative Ramel and everyone in that meeting was very appreciative of it as a dialogue to help hopefully guide this next year's transmission related policy bills in a way that's, we can have compromise more, where we can get something that everybody supports. There were a couple of things that in that conversation got universal support, and now I believe there's also support that there is increasingly likely to be tribal support too, and that is the reconductoring aspect to allow streamlined reconductoring of existing transmission lines, which is a good thing. But there'll be many other things to be investigated, and Representative Ramel will be introducing legislation again this year, but hopefully with the input from the PUD community to really do it in a way that everybody can support. So that's a very high level statement. Because I was multitasking, I was, obviously taking care of personal matters at the same time during these meetings. I didn't take particularly good notes, but I'm being told that I'll get notes of the meeting, then I'll forward it to Chris, and then Chris, if you could forward it to the commission after that.
Will do.
Yeah. So full disclosure, the next statement is a kind of one of those full disclosure, just FYI, letting you all know. And I'm doing that for both Eddie and I. We both happen to be at two events not related to PUD business over the last 2 weeks, a couple of weeks. One was the public unveiling of Corex. There were 100 people there. That is the district energy project that, of course, our general manager provided very beneficial input on. It's been launched, and it was very cool implementation of a technology to recover waste heat from the gas power plant from Puget Sound Energy, and use it for district heating. It's really an exciting thing for our community. And not at all related to PUD business. But just wanted to make sure full disclosure on that. And Eddie and I were also involved in a meeting to talk about the Post Point wastewater treatment plant, and what's happening with the digester and the waste handling. Of course, Eddie's role in his day job as resources, and me as a having background in wastewater treatment plants, both enjoyed learning more about that, and and providing some technical input I have on the subject. I just wanted you all to know, it's full disclosure, again, completely not related to PUD business, but we were both there. So, Peter, any comments there?
No concerns.
Okay. That concludes my comments. Again, I wanted to thank everybody for being so supportive of me personally. So, my dad's okay.
Good.
He's about to turn 90 this year, and I won't have him forever. And I'm glad every minute I do make the choice. My advice to everybody in the world is that you'll never regret the time you spend with your loved ones. So err on the side of generosity, of spending more time. So.
Glad to hear that.
Oh, Joseph has his hand up.
If I may, commissioners, I was just looking at the calendar. We just wanted to throw a couple of ideas out there in terms of the scheduling of the meetings while I have you real quick. If we were to do back-to-back meetings like we attempted in the past, the 19th and 20th of this month are open, and what did I see? The 17th and 18th of July are open. Are afternoons better, mornings better? What do we want to do?
Afternoons are better for me.
Okay.
And I should still be around on the 19th and 20th. I think I'm leaving on the 21st.
If that works for Commissioner Uri and Commissioner Deshmani, I can reach out to Karina and Mal Foster and see if they can be here next Thursday and Friday, and we could do a back-to-back and knock it out.
So Juneteenth is the 19th though. I don't know if that's a day off at my work. I don't know if it's a day off for everybody.
Good point. Optional floating holiday at the PUD.
It's a floating holiday, but we're not closed. So people may choose to take the day off, but I think both Chris and I will be good.
Personally, I'd prefer the 19th over the 20th. Like if need be, I can make it on the 20th, but
Well, I won't be doing anything on the 19th otherwise, so that's fine if we have a meeting.
Well, I think what Joseph's saying is we need 2 meetings, so I was wondering if one on the 19th.
oh, just back to back.
Correct.
Yes,
Okay.
One on
correct.
each day.
Oh,
Otherwise,
okay.
we're
One
looking
with
at that third week in July.
one with Karina, one with Mal Foster.
Correct.
Yeah, right. Okay. Not the same day. Okay.
Yeah, not
Not
back to
back.
back.
Okay.
I mean, I suppose that could also be an option, like all day, like Thursday morning one, Thursday afternoon the other.
I mean, that's fine for me too. Like I said, I'm not doing anything that day.
Would that be better, Eddie, if we tried that first, and then if not, we could put one of them on the 20th if we had to?
I would right now. I would favor that. If folks are okay, if that works for others. I mean, would that not be too much to do them back to back?
No.
We'll break in between.
I have to work all day normally anyway, so
Right.
I'm used to the long haul.
Yeah, take advantage of you having the
Yeah.
day off. from work.
Commissioner Deshmani, does that work for you?
I didn't quite follow. Can someone explain it to me?
So we were looking at the 19th and 20th, but with the 19th being a full day off for Jamie, the thought was we could schedule both Karina and Mal Foster that day, make it a full day strategic planning session. One meeting in the morning, one meeting in the afternoon.
Yeah, I suppose there probably will be some Juneteenth festivities that I'd like to go to, but they'll probably be in the evening. So
Evening, yeah.
yeah, we'll be done by 5, I think, grade 4 or 5.
Yeah, my thought would be like we start at normal meeting time at 8:15 for the first session, run till noon, then start the next session 1 to 4.
Is it too bold to ask us to have some lunch provided?
No, we can figure that out. Yeah. I would suggest, Joseph, don't pin it down now, because Karina may only want 90 minutes. You know, or Mole Foster may say it's a 2-hour meeting, not a 3-hour meeting. So let's
Right,
just,
right.
if commissioners are good with the whole day and we schedule it around noon, we'll figure it out.
You'll give me food.
We'll give you food.
Yay.
Okay,
We'll figure it out.
and if need be, the 20th is still possible, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, because we don't know about Mole Foster and.
right,
and,
they might also,
Karina, yeah.
did they didn't say before they're taking Juneteenth off though, or?
We didn't ask him.
I was just shooting it out there because I was looking at the calendar and I saw that the earliest open dates are that 19th and 20th, and then the 10th and 11th of July, just because I have administrative calendars in front of me too. So,
Not the 11th, because that's the open house.
hey, okay.
Yeah,
And that's exactly why I asked, because I know we've got 4th of July festivities for us coming up, and I knew the open house was right in that general vicinity too. So,
Yeah, if we could fit it in June, because we'll be pretty busy and be setting up for the 11th on the 10th. So let's shoot for those, see if we can get it on the
1920,
19th.
I will do that. I will make those calls today.
Thank you, Joseph.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
I guess I'll just put this out now in case, I don't know how far we're scheduling out, but I'm gonna block, I'm out the week of July 27th. Yeah, well, and then also the preceding 2 weeks, pretty much the whole second half of July, because I'll have Energy Northwest and Wakuta is the weeks before that, so. If in case of, I think, so yeah, scheduling or strategic planning the second half of July, if we're doing more sessions, that could be a challenge outside of, if not on the day of our, like the 22nd, our regular commission meeting, or.
Well, and if we can proceed on the 19th and 20th, it doesn't delay any of the project timelines at all. We
Okay,
get out into July and you're starting to push some of the.
We're gonna make
timelines.
that happen then. 19th and 20th, we're gonna make it happen. Especially if there's lunch involved. I'll show up.
We'll see.
That's not dependent on much, but do you want legal here?
That's why you guys hired me. My wife always tells me, Joe, I'm in ideas, not management. So I do the management.
Okay,
well, that's a good question. Like, though, because I was wondering that, like, in our last session with, Mal Foster and with Karina, like, John sitting in on Zoom, like,
Yeah.
how necessary is that for these meetings? For the, to have legal counsel?
John has had some really good insights for some things that we wanted to do that
Yeah.
were not.
And Peter likewise has given me a ton of guidance. My preference would be to invite them and let them know it's optional,
Yeah,
because they've always been handy.
might be lunch.
They're handy.
I think with Karina, where we're just figuring out a vision statement, though, is that, I mean, last time he was kind of just listening in, like, you think that, I mean.
Well, but we did have a meeting with Karina and we were talking about timelines and stuff like that. And then we got into like some labor discussions and John was able to really steer us in the right direction. And that was literally one of the conversations that we had with Karina. I mean, we get out there in the weeds sometimes. So I don't know, it's always good in our planning to have some guidance if they want to show.
And in my experience with attorneys is only about half the time you're gonna need them until you need them.
Yeah.
And that's, all of a sudden you just need them and.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to overwork you though.
No,
Okay.
that's good. I just want to be, I don't know what your planning sessions are, the culture is for having legal present or not.
So then those invited.
Invited, yes.
okay, so, are we, we're, kind of, in an open conversation, commissioner comments is done. I want to see, if we need to do anything else before we go to public comment.
No.
Okay, so let's go to our second public comment. Is anybody in the room or, online, raise their hands? Who would like to make a comment? Nobody online, I don't see, looks like.
It's just staff.
Yeah, it's only staff. We don't have any general public available.
I just, one thing for the good of the order, I just wanted to, mention that I, have an interest in the subject of candy for July 4th. If it's okay, Chris, may I talk to Lisa specifically about that?
You bet.
Okay,
Yeah.
so Lisa, can I bug you give you a call, talk about candy?
Yeah, do it today, cause I have it in my, my order, cart online, so.
Yeah, it's not the choice of candy. I'll tell you what I want to talk about. I'll just give you a call.
Okay, they don't have any sticks, if that's what you're worried about.
Oh, no,
No
that's,
lollipop.
I'll just call you.
Okay, yes, call me anytime.
Is there anything else for the good of the order?
I think we're set.
Oh, well, thank you all for coming. I'll go ahead and call the Whatcom County Public Utility District #1 meeting to close. Thank you.
Thank you.
Congrats to all of you. Feel
Good to
better.
see you.
Yeah, I'm feeling better. I
Okay.
just want to I didn't want to take any risks.